Before this video starts, I need you to remember one thing. Every story you're about to hear tonight happened to someone real. Real people. Real places. And in some of these stories, the person telling it barely made it out. What they saw, what they heard, and what followed them that night still hasn't been explained. Some say it was just paranoia. Others believe something much worse was out there. Something watching them. Something waiting in the dark. Tonight I'm sharing 3 terrifying horror stories. Stories that start normal, but end with a realization that chills you to the bone. You were never supposed to be there. The hallway lights were still on. That was the first thing that felt wrong. School had closed hours ago. I was only there because I forgot my backpack. My mom waited in the car while I ran inside. The front doors were unlocked, which they never were. I stepped into the hallway, and the building felt too quiet. Not normal quiet, heavy quiet, like someone was holding their breath. My footsteps echoed the whole way down the corridor, lockers on both sides. Every classroom door closed, except one. Room 12. The door was open just a little. I stopped walking because I heard something inside. A chair scraping slowly across the floor. Then it stopped. I told myself it was a janitor, but the janitors usually had their carts and radios. This was just silence again. I kept walking, trying not to look into the classroom, but as I passed the door, I saw movement. Someone standing between the desks, completely still, just watching the hallway. I froze. The lights inside the classroom were off, so I could only see the shape of a person. Tall, shoulders slightly hunched, and they weren't moving at all. Then the chair scraped again, just a few inches, like they nudged it with their foot. I kept walking, slowly, trying to act normal. My backpack was at the end of the hall near the gym doors, only about 30 steps away. But halfway there, I heard something else. Footsteps. Behind me. Slow. Matching my pace. Step. 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 I turned my head a little. The classroom door was now fully open, and the hallway behind me was empty. But the footsteps kept going, right behind me. Step. 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 My chest tightened, because the sound wasn't coming from the hallway. It was coming from inside the lockers, like someone was walking on the other side of them, keeping pace with me. The metal rattled softly as they moved. Locker. After locker. After locker. I started walking faster. The footsteps sped up too. Now it sounded like someone dragging their hand along the lockers. Metal clanging quietly, getting closer. My backpack was right there, sitting against the wall. I grabbed it, and that's when the banging started. One locker door slammed open behind me, then another, then another. Like someone was kicking them open one by one, getting closer down the line. Closer, closer, closer. I ran, straight for the gym exit, but the door didn't open. It was locked. I pulled again. Nothing. Behind me, the locker door stopped slamming. Everything went quiet. Then I heard breathing. Right behind me. So close it felt like it touched my neck. The handle on the gym door slowly turned, from the other side. I didn't wait. I ran back down the hallway, past the lockers, past classroom 12. And that's when I saw him. Standing in the middle of the hallway now. The same tall shape. Just watching me run toward him. He stepped forward. Slow. Blocking the path to the front doors. I turned and ran the other direction. Straight into the science wing. My shoes sliding on the floor. Heart pounding so loud it hurt. Behind me I heard running. Not walking anymore. Running. Fast. His footsteps getting closer. I pushed into the nearest classroom and slammed the door. There was no lock, only a small metal stopper. I shoved a desk against the handle, my hands shaking. Then the door handle moved. Slowly. The desk scraped as the handle pushed against it. Again. Harder. The desk shifted. Just a little. I backed toward the window, breathing so hard my chest burned. The handle turned again, and the desk moved another inch. Then suddenly, the pressure stopped. No footsteps. No breathing. Nothing. I stayed there for almost 10 minutes, too scared to move. Until I finally heard a car drive past outside. I climbed out the window, ran across the parking lot, and jumped into my mom's car. She asked why I looked like that. I told her someone was inside the school. The police checked the building that night. They said it was empty. No one inside. No broken locks. Nothing missing. But the next day, the school sent an email to parents. They said several locker doors were found open, all in a straight line, from classroom 12 all the way to the gym exit, like someone had followed the exact path I walked. And the scariest part? My backpack, the one I grabbed before running. When I opened it later that night, there was a piece of paper inside. I had never seen it before. It only had 3 words written on it. You chose wrong. The parking lot was almost empty. That was the first thing that felt wrong. My coach's truck was still there, but practice had ended almost an hour earlier. I had only gone back because I forgot my jacket. It was getting cold, and the front doors were unlocked, which never happened at night. I stepped inside the school. The hallway lights were on, but the building felt off. Too quiet. No air vents humming, no distant voices, just my footsteps echoing down the hallway. My jacket was in the locker room, at the end of the gym corridor. I walked past the trophy cases, past the dark classrooms, and halfway down the hall, I heard a door close. Soft, but clear. I stopped. The sound came from the gym hallway, exactly where I was going. I waited, hoping to hear a janitor or someone talking. Nothing. Just silence again. I told myself it was probably a teacher leaving late. So I kept walking. The gym doors were open. The lights inside were off. Only the emergency lights were glowing red. I stepped into the locker room, grabbed my jacket off the bench, and that's when I heard footsteps, out in the hallway. Slow, heavy, not walking past, walking toward the locker room. I froze. The footsteps stopped right outside the door, then the door pushed open, just a few inches. I couldn't see the person, only the shadow stretching across the tile floor, long, still, waiting. I didn't move. My heart was pounding so loud I thought they could hear it. Then the door opened wider, and someone stepped inside. Tall, wearing a dark hoodie, face turned slightly away, like they didn't want to be seen. They didn't say anything, just looked around the locker room slowly, like they were checking the space, looking for someone. For me. I crouched behind the row of lockers, trying not to breathe. The person walked deeper into the room, their shoes scraping lightly on the tile. One step, then another. Then they stopped. Right on the other side of the lockers I was hiding behind. I could see their shadow on the floor, only a few feet away. They stood there for several seconds, not moving. Then their hand slowly rested on top of the lockers, right above my head. The metal creaked slightly. I felt my chest tighten, because if they leaned even a little, they would see me. The hand slid across the locker tops, slow, searching. Then suddenly it stopped. Right above the locker I was behind, my whole body locked up. I thought it was over. Then their phone buzzed, loud. They pulled their hand away, stepped back, and walked toward the exit. I waited, counting in my head. 1 minute, 2 minutes. Then I slowly stood up. The hallway outside was empty, but the gym doors were now closed, which I knew I had left open. I walked toward them slowly, trying not to make noise, and when I pushed the door open, I saw headlights shining through the glass doors at the front of the school. A car was parked right outside, engine running, blocking the exit. Someone was sitting in the driver's seat, watching the doors. My stomach dropped, because that meant the person in the locker room wasn't alone. I backed away slowly, trying to stay out of sight. Then I heard the locker room door open again. Behind me, footsteps. Fast this time. Running. I ran too. Down the side hallway, through the science wing, my shoes sliding on the floor. Behind me, the footsteps got closer. Closer. I reached the emergency exit at the back of the school, pushed the bar. The alarm exploded through the building, loud, piercing. I ran into the darkness behind the school, across the field, all the way to the street. I didn't stop until I saw other houses, lights, people. Later that night, the police checked the school. They found the car in the front lot, but it was empty. No driver, no plates. And the cameras, they showed something strange. The car arrived almost 20 minutes before I did, just sitting there, waiting, like whoever was inside already knew someone would come back for something they forgot. The hallway lights were flickering. That was the first thing I noticed. Our school never left lights on after dark, but the entire second floor was glowing. I wasn't supposed to be there. I had gone back for my laptop. I needed it for an assignment due the next morning. The front entrance was locked, so I used the side door near the stairs. It opened without a key. That already felt wrong. The building smelled different. Not like cleaning supplies, more like dust. Like the air hadn't moved in hours. My classroom was at the end of the hallway, room 23. As I walked down the corridor, something small caught my attention. One locker door was open, just slightly. Then another. Then another. 3 lockers in a row, all cracked open the same way, like someone had checked them. I slowed down, listening. Nothing. Just the faint buzz of the lights. My classroom door was closed, but the light inside was on. I knew I had turned it off earlier that day. I stood there for a moment, just staring at the door. Then I pushed it open. My laptop was still on my desk, exactly where I left it. The room looked normal. Rows of desks, whiteboard, teacher's chair. But one desk was moved. It was pushed closer to the door, like someone had been sitting there, watching the hallway. I grabbed my laptop, slipped it into my bag, and that's when I heard footsteps. Right outside the classroom, slow, deliberate. They stopped at the door. The handle didn't turn. But I saw the shadow of someone standing there, blocking the light in the hallway. I didn't move. My heart started pounding in my ears. The shadow stayed there, completely still. Then slowly, it moved away. The footsteps continued down the hallway. I waited a few seconds, then stepped to the door and looked out. The hallway was empty, but at the far end, the stairwell door was swinging slightly, like someone had just pushed through it. I should have left, but something made me follow. Maybe curiosity, maybe fear. I walked down the hallway quietly. The stairwell door creaked as I opened it. The stairwell lights were off. Only a small emergency light glowed near the bottom. I started down the steps. Halfway down, I heard movement below me. Someone walking slowly down the next flight. I froze because they weren't leaving the building. They were going deeper, into the basement level, which students weren't even allowed in. I stepped down another stair, trying to stay quiet. Then the person below stopped walking, completely, like they heard me. The silence was heavy. Then slowly, a hand appeared on the railing below. Just a hand, gripping the metal. Then a face tilted upward from the darkness, looking straight at me. I couldn't see their eyes clearly, but I knew they were staring. Then they started climbing. Fast, 2 steps at a time. I turned and ran, up the stairs, back into the hallway, my shoes slamming against the floor. Behind me, the stairwell door burst open. Footsteps chasing me. Loud. Heavy. I sprinted toward the side exit, but the door wouldn't open. It had locked automatically. I yanked the handle again. Nothing. Behind me, the footsteps got closer. I could hear their breathing now, right in the hallway. I ran the other direction, toward the main entrance. The glass doors were just ahead. I pushed through them and ran into the parking lot, cold air hitting my face. I didn't stop until I reached my car. I locked the doors, hands shaking, looking back at the school. One of the second-floor lights turned off, then another, until the whole hallway went dark. The police checked the building later that night. They didn't find anyone. But they did find something strange in my classroom. That desk by the door, the one that had been moved. On the surface of it, someone had scratched a message into the wood. It said only one thing. You came back.